Okay, so got a new series of videos here. Our monthly option trades and option income, cover calls, cash secured puts, and more. I'm not sure exactly what the more is going to be, but we'll find out if I add more. So the more could be leaps, LEAPS, but we're not going to talk about those today. We're going to talk about mostly cash secured puts right down here. So a long time ago when I was in high school, I learned about trading futures like corn, soybeans, and silver and gold and orange juice and pork bellies and stuff like that. And I dabbled in that over the years. And I didn't really make any money, but it was fun. And then for several years, I was always interested in like option trading or whatever, but I never really took the time to try it. I did some paper trading or whatever, but didn't really dive into it. At the beginning of COVID, I started working remotely, start working from home, and during some spare time, which had a lot of spare time during COVID, couldn't go anywhere. I started actually like dabbing with options a little bit and start trading a little bit and watching some YouTube tutorials and videos and read about it and try to find a system perhaps. And over the course of a couple years or whatever, I won't say I have a system, but I do have success doing this. I'm not trying to influence anybody to do this and do what I'm doing, but I do want to influence people to try something different once in a while, whether it's buy real estate or have a side hustle to make some extra money, invest that money. You got to do something to get ahead in life. You just can't probably go to work every day, work 9 to 5 and make money for somebody else. That's okay to get by and pay your bills and raise your family. And I did that, but I've always had extra irons in the fire doing something. And this is one of the irons I have in the fire. So let's go ahead and get going here. But before we get too far, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, like, turn on notifications if you want. And this is not financial advice. It's just me. Hopefully, I inspire people to do something different than the normal routine. And by creating some extra money, you have money to do extra things like travel. We travel a lot, always traveled a lot. People used to say, like, "How can you afford to travel so much?" I always had, like, side hustles going on, like teaching part-time or doing something, and as I've gotten older, I've learned to make my side hustles less work, and I don't know who says it, maybe it's Warren Buffett or somebody, but makes a comment about being nice to make money while you sleep, alright? So, option trading is something you can do to basically make money while you sleep. Okay, so this is not supposed to be a tutorial on how to trade options. So what I'm gonna do is show you what I've been making trading options, and I'll show a little bit like how it's done, and then we'll jump back and we'll look at how much money we've made and how much money we've lost. And not to scare anybody, but this is some money that we potentially have lost, but not really. I'll talk about that. So let's jump over here to Fidelity, and I already searched for TQQQ. TQQQ is a leveraged ETF on the QQQ. So the QQQ is basically the NASDAQ 100, and I don't know how the QQQ, if it's weighted exactly the NASDAQ 100. So the NASDAQ 100, the top 100 companies of the NASDAQ. Anyhow, you can look that up. So the TQQQ is a leveraged version of that. If QQQ goes up 1%, TQQQ goes up approximately 3%. Pretty cool, right? If QQQ goes down 1%, TQQQ, that's hard to say, goes down approximately 3%. Triple up, triple down. All right. So anyhow, because it moves a little quicker, you can make a little bit more money on the option trading. The other thing, when you're trading options, you trade them in lots of 100 shares at a time. 100 shares of TQQQ is $116 a piece. So it's like 11,600. 100 shares of QQQ would be like 63,000. And so you can do this with less money. That's one good thing. So in order to get to the option chain, I went to Fidelity, I typed in TQQQ up here. This popped up, and I can buy and sell TQQQ right here. But I'm going to come down here and review this option chain, and this pops up. So I like selling cash secured puts a little bit more than covered calls. And the reason why I think the stock market in general is going to go higher as time goes on. It goes down and goes up and goes down and goes up. But overall, it goes up over time. And this is not financial advice. This is just that me thinking in my own way and how I do things. So anyhow, we're going to do a cash secured put. All right. So I'm going to click on puts here. And this is called the option chain. This is not a tutorial on option trading, just showing you what I'm doing. So it's like November 1st, 2025. I like to do the cash secured puts for about 2 weeks out. So 2 weeks would be about November 14th. So that's what I want to look at. I'll get rid of these here to keep confused. And I'll scroll down here, and the price of TQQQ is around $116 a share. So right away, we can see some action here. It says open interest. So this is how many contracts are going on currently. The volume is like the daily total. The open interest is like the total over time, the accumulated amount of the daily actions. The 90 strike price has 1,265 contracts, and I think I'm explaining that correctly. So what I want to do is sell a cash secured put, but the thing is, like, what do I pick here? This is a lot of stuff here. So let's go over to, we'll click on, we'll click on this. This is Yahoo Finance, and let's scroll up a little bit. So this is the chart for TQQ, excuse me. And this shows like how things have been going. So once again, this is not a tutorial. Don't watch this and think I learned everything you need to know, because this is some of the things you might want to know, but not everything. So I'm looking at this this green line going up and down, bouncing up. This is the price at TQQQ, and I'm looking at from August through now, November 1st. So I'm looking at about 3 months worth of data here. And a couple of things I'm looking at. So this band here called the Bollinger Band, and this is like guardrails for the price of the stock. Now, it's not, somebody doesn't tell the stock, hey, you got to stay between these guardrails. If you do, you're not allowed to get out of here, because it will bump out like this. But basically, this is a prediction. It's the standard deviation, I think, of the upward and downward movement of the price. So typically, the Bollinger Band, the price of the stock will stay in between here, and it bounces up here, hits the upper limit, and goes down. Now, the Bollinger Band does move with the price and the average of the stock over time. So this middle line is the 20-day moving average. So you can see the price is bouncing up and down and keeping this average. So this is the average price over 20 days right here. The red line is the 50-day moving average. I look at this as my lower limit of the price. So if you look, the price usually doesn't hit that 50-day moving average on the downward movement. It just keeps going above it. Now, this doesn't work for every stock, every scenario, every time. Each stock has its own personality. So for TQQQ, you can look at the QQQ chart too. It's very similar. And I'm using this as a guideline to where I want to place my trades. Also, if possible, during these dips down, like a dip right here, and as it gets close to the 20-day moving average, down here, it took a big dip. I also like to place these trades during this little bit of a dip. Now, I'm not talking about a lot of big dips. I'm talking about $100 right here. If I'm looking over to the right here, like this moves $100 from 104. So right here, it dropped like $4 and it creeped back up like $4 or $5. So that's what, like maybe a 4%, 3% dip here. And remember, this is triple of QQQ. If QQQ goes down 1%, which it does, it moves that much in a day, up and down 1%. This will move 3%. So let's look at today's numbers. So it's trading at 116, 117. The 50-day moving average is right about 101 to 102. let's pretend like we're going to place a trade today. Now, I wouldn't really place a trade right now because the price is up too high and there's too much going on right here right now. I do like to make trades when it dips down, but right now it's high. But let's just say we were. So let's say right here, it's like around what's the price today? It's like 116. So this bottom 50-day moving average, we're looking at like around 102. Let's just say 102 to make it a nice even number. Let's go back over here. And over here, we're looking at 102 for a strike price. So let's go down here to about 102. All right. So here's 102 here. And this over here says sell at 57 cents per share. All right. So I'm looking over here at the amount of total interest. In order to do this, you got to have a buyer and a seller. Okay. So I like to deal when these numbers here are probably like closer to 500. Now, some of these you can't, but definitely a couple hundred. So this is not great. But if I go back here to 100, I see a lot of action going on here. So this might be a little bit better. And also, what was the 102, 57? So this would be, these numbers aren't good here. The higher the number here, the better. But usually when you go to the lower prices, the numbers get lower. Usually it starts out low and then it works its way higher. So this 57 down here is strange. So you gotta look at that too. So you see it gets up to $1, and then as you get way down here, the prices go even higher and higher. So where this color changes, this is about represents where the price of the stock is right now, like between 116 and 117. But what I want to say is back here at 100, this would be good. So I would click on this, and basically what I'm saying is if the price of TQQQ falls to $100 per share, I'll agree to buy 100 shares for $100. And for my trouble, I'm going to get paid 83 cents a share. So $83. And that's going to happen between now and November 14th. I got 2 weeks. If the price drops down to 100 or below between now and November 14th, and if it's sitting there at November 15th below 100 or at 100, I will get assigned 100 shares of TQQQ for $100 a share. And for my trouble, I've also earned $83 I get to stick in my pocket. So you're thinking, that's not a lot of money. That's not worth it. If I could buy 100 shares of TQQQ when it's trading for 116 right now, that's buying it at a discount. Eventually, it's going to go back up over 100. If it falls down to, that's 97, I still got to pay 100 for it. That's the deal. I'm making a handshake deal. Eventually, it's going to go back up. Sometimes it goes back up the very next day, and then I can sell them and do this again. The chances of this happening are pretty slim. So, like, it would be really cool if you could see what the chances of this happening. The good news is you can. So this delta over here, this 0.11, that represents a couple things, but one thing it represents is the percent chance that this is going to happen. So the percent chance this is going to happen is like 11% chance. If you look at the other side, it's an 89% chance that it's not going to happen. So basically, you're going to make $83 and there's an 89% chance you're going to not have to buy those shares, and you just stick that $83 in your pocket forever and you keep it. That's yours to keep no matter what. And the worst case, or some people think it's the best case, the price does go down. You keep the $83, plus you get to buy these shares for $100 a share. If you're dealing with 100 shares, so that's $10,000 worth of stock. And then you just hang on to them and you either wait it out or you do other things called a covered call. But we're not going to talk about that quite yet. But anyhow, this is what I'm doing. It's not a tutorial. I'm just trying to tell you how this works. There's 1,000 tutorials on YouTube doing this a whole lot better than me. So anyhow, To actually do this, I would click on sell. Okay, it populates this already. I got to tell it how many contracts I want. I'll say one, and that would be like an $82 profit right here. I would click on preview order, and then I click order, and then I would get pocket $82, and life is great, and everything is good. So let's go back here to this, and I'll make a new video showing what I profited on each of these trades. So quickly, the first one, I sold cash secured put on August 25th. The expiration date was for 9/5. I actually closed out early. You can do that. You can say, I don't want to wait till the 5th. I want to get rid of it now. And I do that almost every single time. Now, when you get out early, you don't get to keep the whole amount. You got to give a little bit back. So in this case, I did a put. The strike price was 88, like early September. That's what I picked. I did 2 contracts, and I actually made $1.99 per share originally. Let's move this to 0 just for a second. So originally, I pocketed $398. That's what I got to keep. However, I want to get out of this earlier, so I bought those back early, but I had to pay 37 cents a share, and I did that on the 4th of September, right here. And because I did that, I had to pay $74, I think it was. But anyhow, when all was said and done, I made $324. That's how much I stuck in my pocket. And this took 10 days from the 25th through the 5th of September. And here's just some other things. Return capital was almost at 2%. And if I did this on an annual basis, that would be a 67% return on an annual basis. And you can see some of these were quite high. But anyhow, this is how much I was making per day if you figure that out. So 10 days, $32 a day, $320 about. So not really important stuff there. If I scroll over, I could put notes over here, what happened. So anyhow, that's how it works. I'll make another video on how much money I made in September and how much money I made in October. So anyhow, thanks for watching. If you think you might like this, go ahead and subscribe. Remember, this is not financial advice. It's maybe someone could fall under a tutorial, but not a complete tutorial. It's not like a course on how to do options. It's just kind of me trying to explain what I'm doing. And like I said, if I'm trying to do anything, it's trying to inspire people to think outside the box once in a while and do something a little bit different than your normal everyday routine, whatever that could be. So with that, I will see you in the next video.